is they're not able to just pull the wool over the current serving's eyes, of their eyes.
And that's checkmate. I mean, tyranny will come to your door in a uniform. We don't want to fight the military and police. We want them to relearn their oath, commit, and decide what side they're on. Clearly, the financial collapse is what Ron Paul believes. They're getting ready for open martial law and an attack on Iran. So this is very, very serious. If they attack Iran, they're not going to need to stage attacks. There's going to be real attacks. And then we get the internal MIAC and Homeland Security reports. 2 weeks ago, the head of the FBI, Robert Mueller, said the new threat is the American people. Well, we've known with the internal docs for 8 years, the full focus of this has been on we the people.
Absolutely. And we're seeing that even within Oath Keepers. We've got now confirmation that basically the FBI and ATF are being sicked on us, and they're being told to go out and find a way to paint us as a militia, find a way to make us look bad in the eyes of the current serving military. So I mean, of course, it's happening to you too. All these smear campaigns are being done against anyone who speaks up, anyone who stands for the Constitution. It's not done against fake conservatives, against the neocons, only done against true constitutionalists, because we are their actual enemy.
Yeah, let's talk about, well, first, let me just get any other intel that's important that you're getting from the troops right now. I mean, we have the documents, and it's not just the phone calls. We know what's going on, but specifically, what percentage is a dead reckoning of the forces you're talking to are really waking up to what's happening?
Well, it's tough to say. I mean, it's kind of like an iceberg. We only hear, from a tip, and there's a great mass beneath. But you hear so many different pings from so many different directions that the big picture starts coming together. But basically, they don't like the training they're getting. They understand what it's for. They understand that it's predominantly for coming economic collapse. And in fact, other scuttlebutt we heard is that there were police who told us that during their training, so they were told by prior military, I can't tell you who, but just prior military, that an economic collapse is coming. The government is aware of it, and the government is preparing for it. Of course, you know that. But the average police officer is stunned by this news. And so when they hear that for the first time from very credible military personnel who, in private conversations between professionals, when they hear that for the first time, they're floored by it. But they don't like it, and they understand that what's happening is that an economic collapse will be used as a pretext and a catalyst for shutting down the Constitution, for sidestepping the states. I mean, give me a break. There's nothing about state sovereignty that is being respected or preserved by NORTHCOM or by FEMA. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you're absolutely right, and we have the internal Goldman Sachs and other documents where it was engineered by design. I had Greg Palast, BBC reporter, on who got the internal IMF documents where they planned to cause riots as a pretext to come in and take over.
Well, I haven't seen that. I'd like to see that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that actually came out in 2002, but absolutely. We had Greg Palast on yesterday. Now, expanding on this, on Tea Party Day, you canceled an event in D.C. because of provocateurs. Tell us about that.
Well, it wasn't so much provocateurs. We canceled because it was off our mission. I mean, as I said at the press conference I gave in D.C., we have the utmost respect. In fact, Daniel Allen, the organizer of that event, is an Oath Keeper. He was one of our guys in Georgia. And so I have the utmost respect for him. But the rhetoric started to shift from being just an open carry event, which is fine, and started to be much more confrontational. But I did say, look, it's important for the government to get that message, that there are people out there who are not going to just, roll over and give up their liberty. They're willing to fight if they have to. I think it's an important message for the government to get. But it's not the Oath Keeper message. Our mission is to focus on the people within the government, not on us that are outside of the government. And so I thought it was incompatible with what we're trying to do, just in the sense of we want to make sure we can reach the current serving. And if we put ourselves in a posture of making it easy, our enemies want to attack us and make us look like a militia, because that way they can have the DOD make us a banned organization that active duty cannot belong to. Because they've so demonized the word militia that it's now the equivalent.
And they can use counterterrorism funds to really run an operation against you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't want to make ourselves vulnerable to that. So that's why we didn't do it. I've gotten a lot of flack for it, but hey, I'm willing to take my lumps and whatever I got to deal with to stay on mission. My focus is on the current serving. And my message to people out there who are, they want us to become You know, they want us to actually become like a militia. They want Oath Keepers to stand up and go stop government abuse or go stand on the front lines and do this or that. And my message to them is, hey, do you want the police and military on your side or not? If you do, let me do my mission. You go do your mission. I'm not going to knock what you do.
Exactly. We don't need people telling you what to do or what I should do. You know, they want to go out and do that. Go ahead, John Wayne. You got all the answers. We need soft power to come in and take this country back gently. Stewart Rhodes, the founder of Oath Keepers, is our guest till about 40 after. Then I want to play a clip of a black studies professor saying exterminate the entire white race. Well, that's just part of the human race. But I want to illustrate how you've got some of the white supremacists saying this. You got black groups, Hispanic groups saying it. I want to explain how tribalism works and how the globalists manipulate us through this. But going back to Stewart Rhodes, the next segment, we're opening the phones up just for Stewart Rhodes. Take a few calls, 1-800-259-9231. And I'm not saying everybody, Stewart, that's trying to get you to you know, become this organization that gets the military to go out and confront people. But the minute you obviously get military, active duty, to start going out and confronting people, they will call that sedition. And I'll guarantee you that's provocateurs. It's like when I told Hatari of the hundreds of militia groups, I could tell they were being infiltrated because of their rhetoric. I got one of their members on back in August of last year, and I said, you're about to be set up. I mean, it's just so clear to see this. They hate your mission of reaching out to the millions of vets and hundreds of thousands of active duty and police, the millions of police, because you're having such an effect, showing them what's happening, that of course they want to get you off mission. Of course they want to get you they would have... as you said, you've already got ATF and FBI trying to go and find stuff on your members already so they can create this, this false picture that you guys are, this evil group.
Right. Yeah, they know how to deal with militias. Unfortunately, the PR battle was lost back in the 90s for the citizen militias, and so they know how to smear them. They don't know how to deal with what we're doing. It makes it very difficult for them to attack us directly, and so they have to make us into something we're not to be easier to attack.
They're certainly doing that. Shifting gears with your interview with Raw Story, Oath Keeper founder slams conservative media hypocrisy. Why is that so important? And break it down.
Well, I mean, the left has, since Oath Keepers began, has had this steady mantra, like with the Mother Jones interview. She totally misquoted me. She says in the article that I said I trusted Bush to only go after the terrorists. I never trusted Bush to do anything. And so I think it was a willful misquote. And what it does is make me look like a political hack. It makes me look like I'm just another Republican that doesn't like the fact that they're out of power. And so it's very.
But you've always been critical of Bush. I've been interviewing you for, almost 3 years now. I mean, this is since the time you started. This is pure deception. You need to demand a retraction.
I did. I emailed her, and she said she would fix it, and I haven't seen a retraction yet. So, but that's how they do it. They want to. So it's once more the divide and conquer. They don't even want people on the political left to understand that there are people on the political right who are consistent and they have goodwill. Like I heard an interview with Naomi Wolf about 2 weeks ago. She's fairly consistent. She actually defended the Tea Party, and she's saying, look, they do have some points. And all the powers that Bush put in place are still there. And so there are people of goodwill on both the so-called left and the so-called right. But they don't want each camp to know that. They want you all to divide and conquer and hate each other as though you were just opposing sports teams, and sports fans. And
that's what the Republicans are doing right now. They've come in and tried to take over the Tea Parties so that Democrats and others don't join to have a true populist constitutional movement.
That's right. They want it to be about the GOP and just to steer you back into voting for them. They don't want it to be a populist or an independent movement. Many Americans now are registering independent. I just heard the same things happening in the military. In fact, I was talking to a guy from Army Times just yesterday. I'm doing an interview with them tomorrow, and he was saying that the new phenomenon in the military is that more and more of them are registering as independent, and that has got to be scaring the two-headed monster.
And so they're going to try to stage and provocateur events to demonize us so the American people don't get together because they're gearing up for their total financial collapse. They think they're going to be able to win, but I'm seeing the confidence drain out of their eyes, drain out of their faces, and just bleed out of their spirit. They are losing the initiative.
Well, of course, the big danger is like a cornered rat. That's when they become more dangerous in some ways. We have to really be on our toes. But a good sign is like I got an article, an interview with Common Dreams that's coming out, and also the one that just came out with Ross Story. So there are some people on the so-called political left who are starting to reach out to people like me and like you on the so-called right and trying to find that common ground. Because they understand what's going on. They look at the banksters and what they did during the Obama administration and the Bush administration. They understand that nothing's really changed.
Yeah, I mean, actually, a lot of neocons are praising Obama for wars, torture, secret arrests, military tribunals.